Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to the Real Talk. Today, we're going to be discussing self reflection. And if you haven't already, please check out our other two videos. One which is I do a quick introduction on the channel, and the second one is where we talk about fear. The link We'll put the links in the description. So if you haven't already, please check us out. And thank you very much for joining us again. If you have, and if you haven't, thank you and welcome. Today I have with me a very special guest, my beautiful girlfriend Aya. Welcome. Thank you for being on the show.
And thank you for the invitation. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today.
So today we're going to talk about self-reflection. I think it's a very important aspect of human life and something that we should practice daily or regularly. For me, it's very important. I try to do it as much as possible. It is a chance where for me, self-reflection is where I can look back or look into uh, what life I have, who I am, what I am, and then from there give a chance for myself to grow as a human being. Yeah, you were very interested, or very you basically give a lot of importance to self-reflection. So, what is self-reflection to you?
Yes, I agree with you. It's taken a very important part of my life throughout the years, and the definition of self-importance to me has also changed and evolved throughout the years. So, self-reflection is a form of introspection. Of course, it's the process of us human beings going into our thoughts and thinking about our behaviors, about our personality, about different aspects of our lives, perhaps. So it can take different meanings for different persons. But what I realize, at least for myself, is that the process of self reflection has changed and evolved throughout the years. So when I was younger and during my teenage years, and even up until a couple of years ago, I used to confuse self reflection with self criticism.
Okay.
Which I learned with time to distinguish and, of course, grow out of. So it's very important when we mention self reflection to distinguish it from self criticism, because often people like indulge in very negative thoughts about themselves and fool themselves to believe that such negative thoughts are actually self reflection, whereas it's just self criticism. So that was a very important milestone for me when it came to self reflection, detaching or trying, because it's still a process for me. Trying
For
to
everyone, I
detach.
think it's a thing you can't just stop. You don't reach a ceiling or like a part of your life where you're like, okay, I'm going to stop, because like I said, it's a continuous process and you have to learn and grow. Sorry, continue.
No,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. You're absolutely right. It is a continuous growing and learning process, and you need to start at some point and engage in it.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you. And that takes me to another point, is that the first step to reaching self-reflection is encouraging and increasing your awareness around these thoughts.
Yeah, you made some very good points. Thank you for sharing. And also just to add on what you just said, like you said, you need to do it. Changes throughout your life, and as you grow older, you become more aware of your surroundings, of who you are, through the experiences you go through. So I think it's very important, and I would like to say that also, it also depends on one person to the next. Because we're all at different stages in our life, whether it comes to our relationships, our careers. So, and you can practice it. There's no like fixed method of doing self-reflection. You can do it in various ways. You can maybe take a walk outside or meditate, or you can even do it while listening to music. I had a lot of like a light bulb moment about myself and my surrounding, and like you know a few profound moments when I was listening to music, because sometimes that also helps or it helps you to realize certain things about you and your life.
Yeah.
So why? Because now we're talking about self-reflection, and you mentioned that self-criticism, right? Which is very good point. You should be able to distinguish the two. So self-reflection, in my opinion, gives also, it goes hand in hand with self-love, because when you're reflecting and when you're thinking about your life and who you are, it's very important to do that lovingly, and in a way that a positive thing comes out of it. So why is self-reflection so important to you? Why do you feel that this is something we need to talk about? What is the importance of self-reflection?
Question, actually. And I believe that self-reflection is very important to me today because it has allowed me to grow throughout the years and to develop and to outgrow some of my blockages, mental, physical blockages that have been hindering me from achieving my greatest potential and the best version of myself. And we all hear this everywhere today, how to become the best version of yourself. And I think self-reflection helps a lot in this area, because by self-reflecting, you discover what are your blockages and what is actually keeping you from attaining those goals that you have set.
Yeah.
And of course, self-reflection helps you in the first place to put down those goals that you want to achieve, and then put a map to achieve them. And you touched upon a very interesting and important point, is that you said that self-reflection today comes hand in hand with self-love and cannot be distinguished from it. And I think that is absolutely right, and it feeds in or on the initial thought that I had, that self-reflection must be distinguished from self-criticism. Because if you love yourself, if you feed enough love to yourself, you will be able to overcome that negativity and that self-criticism that would allow you to have a peaceful and healthy flow of self-reflection, to be in a healthy mindset in order to go deeply within you without judging yourself, without hurting yourself, and allowing yourself to be seen and to see others in a healthy way.
Yeah. Well, you just said at the end, judging yourself, and I just want to quickly also touch on that, because, like you said, it's very easy when you're in self-reflection or you're trying to self-reflect to criticize aspects about yourself. Now, in my opinion, I don't know what you think, but you see, we're not perfect, right? We all have flaws. We all have limitations. But for me, we can't get rid. There are aspects that you can change and work on throughout your life, but I think some aspects you can just accept it. Maybe that judgment that you're judging yourself, it's just from you. It doesn't impact other people or other relationships. It's basically, I'm saying, you're just being hard on yourself, and sometimes I think it's okay to have those flaws, if you want to call them, even, and accept that this is who you are, this is a part of you, and be happy with that, instead of overthinking, overworking on small things that really don't define who you are. What do you have to say about? Do you agree with that? I know, like, some things you can work on, like you said, the blockages, that stop you from achieving, whether it's career goals or whatever, in your relationship or who you are as a person. What do you think? Do you agree with that, or do you have a different opinion about it?
Yes, I totally agree. And what you were saying is, in my opinion, can be summarized in the following. You self-reflect from a healthy perspective to nurture that self-love, and you nurture that self-love in order to be able to grow and outgrow your insecurities that are basically keeping you from living a peaceful life, and peaceful in your mind mostly, and with yourself. So I totally agree with you that developing and nourishing your self-love practices can help you overcome those negative thoughts, and can help you accept yourself unapologetically, your unapologetical self, and be who you are around the others. And once we achieve that, I think no one would care about those small details that you were mentioning, or whether you said something wrong that you may think is wrong because your mind is acting from a past experience and applying it to your current one, and which might not be the case. I can like list numerous situations where I was beating myself up, and you've witnessed that, because of something that actually didn't hurt the other person or was not interpreted as my mind put it in front of me. And I think with time I grew to recognize the games that a part of my mind, like which I call my ego, is playing against me. But that took a lot of work, and it wasn't a work to be done in one day. It just took me years, and it started by self-awareness before even self-reflection. I just became aware, even if it were 2 days later or 3 days later, and sometimes years later, just taking the time of being aware of those behaviors that I had and trying to analyze them. And of course, I fell in the trap of self-criticism in the beginning, but then I grew to understand that it was important to objectively analyze those situations and always try to analyze them from a place of love towards myself and love towards the persons involved. Because very often I was hurt myself, and I resented the people involved in the situations with me. And self-awareness, self-reflection, and self-love helped me to acknowledge that the situation was or might not have been as I perceived it, and allowed me to overcome it and send love to the other persons and remove that resentment, basically.
Yeah, wow, that was really beautifully put. I couldn't have put it better myself. But I love the word unapologetic. I think that's something that
that's something I still need to work on with my I'm sorry.
No, like you said, we both agree that we have to do this. It's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. And even when you get there, you're still working on it to become the best version of who you are. And that's through self-awareness. So be aware of where you are in life, what you want to achieve, not just materially, physically, but within yourself, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And then after you've realized you're aware of what you are, then you reflect on it, and then the end goal should be love, self-love.
And just on that, I'm sorry, I just want to add something, is that when we are setting those goals to ourselves, we need to be realistic with those goals. They need to come from a self of love.
And patience.
And patience, of course, that comes with time. But sometimes we set very unrealistic goals and we chase them. And then we beat ourselves up because we cannot reach them. So it's very important that when you sit with yourself and tell yourself, this is who I want to become, to see how, or this is who I want to become in such amount of time. And you need to objectively study how realistic your goal is. So if you want to retire by the time you're 30 and you're already 29 and a half, maybe you won't have the time to amass the money unless you win the lotto, of course.
Never know.
But exactly. You might not have the time to amass the money that you want. And if you don't reach the goal by the time you're 30, you become stressed and very, you're not proud of yourself. And that shouldn't be the case. So that's just a point I wanted to clarify, that when we say setting your goals for the future, these need to be realistic and attainable.
And also fluid. Because let's say you have a few goals and something unexpected happens in your life, which is because life is unpredictable. So you have to be fluid in, like, okay, now I'm going through something else. So you need to focus on that. So whatever goal you set for yourself, it can be on hold or you can work around it. So you have to be flexible with it. And at every point or stage in life, because you're reflecting on it, you need to understand where you are and what's going on around you before you can move forward. So I think, thank you. And that was really, really I would say, profound and very good points. And thank you for sharing that. In conclusion, I would just like to say that, like we've discussed, it's really important to self reflect and basically take a moment or two during the day and very regularly just be aware of where you are, who you are, and then move forward, reflecting constantly throughout this journey of life. And hopefully, you can find or get to a place of self love. And from there on, when you love yourself, you can spread that around with everyone around you, not just your friends, family, but even to the stranger that you meet on the street. So, thank you once again for being on the show. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for
And
having me.
of course, and I'm sure you'll be back soon. And thank you for watching. I really appreciate that. If you liked what we're talking about, please like the video. And if you have any comments, please comment, leave a comment, and check out our other videos. The links will be in the description. And please subscribe. And once again, thank you. Keep safe, and we'll be back soon.